You're scrolling, maybe it's Instagram, maybe LinkedIn, and somewhere in the first 5 minutes of your morning, before you've eaten breakfast, before you've spoken a single word to another person, you've already seen someone's promotion, someone's vacation, someone's relationship, someone's business milestone. And the day that was perfectly fine before you picked up your phone suddenly feels like not enough. That feeling has a name. But calling it the comparison trap makes it sound like a personal failure. A weakness you should be able to switch off. Here's what nobody tells you. The comparison trap isn't a character flaw. It's a business model. Today we're tracing exactly how it was built and what it quietly does to the way you see yourself and your life. This is After Default. Before social media, human comparison existed in a very specific radius. You compared yourself to your neighbours, your co-workers, your family, the people physically in your world. That comparison, as painful as it was, had natural limits. You couldn't see what everyone on Earth was doing at every moment. Then that changed. In 2004, Facebook launched. Within a decade, the average person had access to the curated highlight reels of hundreds, later thousands, of people, updated in real time, all day, every day. This wasn't an accident of human psychology, this was a feature. In 2017, Sean Parker, Facebook's founding president, gave a rare, unfiltered interview. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, "We asked ourselves, how do we consume as much of your time and conscious attention as possible? And that means we needed to give you a little dopamine hit every once in a while." He wasn't confessing a mistake. He was describing an engineering decision. The comparison trap didn't emerge from human weakness. It was engineered into the interface. To understand why this works so effectively, you need to understand what comparison actually is in your brain. Comparison is not a flaw in human cognition. It's a survival mechanism. For tens of thousands of years, human beings lived in small tribes. Your social standing within that tribe directly affected your survival. If you were falling behind, if your resources were insufficient, if your status was threatened, your brain needed to know. Fast. That's what comparison was built for. A real-time status monitoring system that kept you alert to social threats. And here's the critical part. This system runs on dopamine. Dopamine is commonly described as the pleasure chemical, but that's imprecise. Dopamine is more accurately described as the anticipation chemical. It surges not when you receive a reward, but when you expect one, when there's a signal that something important might be about to happen. Every time you open a social media app, your brain gets that signal. Who posted? What did they achieve? How am I doing compared to them? The comparison system activates. Dopamine releases. And here's what the platform understood and exploited. Downward comparison feels temporarily good. Seeing someone struggling activates a mild dopamine response. But upward comparison, seeing someone doing better, activates a stress response. Cortisol, threat detection, the feeling that you are behind. And social media is, almost entirely, a machine for generating upward comparison. Because the algorithm doesn't show you the average life, it shows you the exceptional one. The best photo, the best moment, the most successful person in your network, the most aspirational version of everyone around you, all day, every day. Your brain's ancient status monitor is receiving data it was never built to process. Now let's be specific about the design decisions that made this worse. Social media platforms didn't accidentally create comparison environments. They systematically amplified them through specific features. The like button. When Facebook introduced the like button in 2009, it wasn't just a way to react to posts. It became a public scoreboard. Every post you publish receives a visible, quantified judgment. 47 likes, 3 likes, 0 likes. That number isn't just feedback, it's a social signal that triggers the same status circuitry comparison activates in the brain. Your brain reads low engagement as social rejection, high engagement as social acceptance. And you can see everyone else's numbers. You can compare your 47 likes to their 1,400. The follower count. Before social media, social status was difficult to quantify. Influence was abstract. Then suddenly, it had a number. Public. Visible. Updated in real time. Your social standing became a leaderboard, and everyone could see everyone else's score. The curated feed. Nobody posts their worst day. Nobody shares the argument, the failed project, the morning they couldn't get out of bed. The feed is not a window into real lives. It's a highlight reel by design, selected and amplified by an algorithm whose goal is to keep you engaged, not to give you an accurate picture of reality. The result is a perceptual distortion. You are comparing your entire life, including all your private failures, your mundane moments, your doubt, against the public-facing best moments of thousands of other people. The game is designed to be unwinnable. If this is clicking for you so far, stick around. Because the second half of this gets darker before it gets useful. The comparison trap doesn't feel like a structural problem. It feels like personal inadequacy. And that's by design. When the platform generates a feeling of falling behind, it doesn't label it as a product feature. It just leaves you with the feeling. And your brain, searching for explanation, lands on the most available target, you. This is the core mechanism. It externalizes the cause of the pain, but internalizes the attribution of blame. Here's what the research shows this does over time. Identity distortion. The more time spent in curated comparison environments, the more people's self-concept drifts toward how others perceive them, rather than who they actually are. People begin making life decisions, career choices, relationship choices, personal values, based on what their audience will respond to. The self becomes a performance. Identity becomes a content strategy. Decision paralysis. When you have access to thousands of visible life paths through the lens of comparison, every decision feels like a gamble. What if I chose the wrong career, the wrong city, the wrong version of myself? Comparison doesn't clarify your options, it multiplies them infinitely. And the research on choice overload is consistent. More visible comparisons lead to less satisfaction with any outcome. The anxiety loop. Because the platform is always available, the comparison never stops. It runs in the background. A constant low-level awareness that somewhere, on a device in your pocket, the scoreboard is updating. This creates what psychologists call anticipatory anxiety. Not anxiety about a specific threat, but a generalized sense of threat. The feeling that you might be falling behind, without a specific cause you can address. You cannot fix a feeling that has no clear source. Here's what most self-help content gets completely wrong about this. They frame the comparison trap as a personal discipline problem. They tell you to be grateful, to remember that social media isn't real, to limit your screen time, to just scroll less. That advice isn't wrong, it's just insufficient. Because it asks you to resist, through individual willpower, a system that was engineered with billions of dollars and decades of behavioral research to keep you in the loop. You cannot out-discipline a trillion-dollar attention machine using gratitude journaling. The shift that actually works is structural. It starts with understanding the incentive. The platform needs you comparing. Comparison creates engagement. Engagement creates data. Data creates ad revenue. Your discomfort is a feature, not a bug. When you understand this, you stop blaming yourself for the feeling. You start asking, what does the system need from me right now? And do I want to give it that? The second shift is environmental design, not willpower, friction. Every barrier between you and the comparison environment reduces the automatic, habitual reach for the app. Screen time locks, app removals, grayscale mode. These aren't cures, they're friction. And in a system optimized for frictionless access, friction is significant. The third shift is comparison redirection. The comparison instinct doesn't disappear. It's biological. But you can give it different inputs. Comparing your current self to your past self. Measuring against your own stated values rather than a social feed. Psychologists call this internal referencing. And in a world designed for external comparison, it is the hardest and most necessary skill to build. The comparison trap is a designed environment. You don't escape designed environments with better intentions. You escape them by understanding the design. The comparison loop runs 24/7. It runs when you wake up and check your phone. It runs when you post and wait for the response. It runs when you close the app and carry the feeling into the rest of your day. The only way to opt out is to understand the machine. Not to be above it, not to be stronger than it, but to see it clearly the incentive structure, the design decisions, the biological wiring it exploits, and make conscious choices within it. You were never falling behind, you were being shown a leaderboard that was designed to make everyone feel like they were, because the system was never trying to inspire you, it was trying to keep you comparing. And once you see the machine clearly, you stop letting it define your worth. Subscribe before the next invisible system becomes normal too.